Two of the top prospects in the Red Sox system and two of the top prospects in the entire country are flat out tearing it up in AAA right now. What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to Red Seat Radio. My name is Corbin. You guys voted, so that's what we're talking about today. And we're just going to quickly skip over what happened last night and focus on what's going on in AAA, because two of the Red Sox top four prospects, the new Fab Four, it's no longer the big three, are making their mark in AAA really quickly. So what we are going to do in today's video is we're going to break that down. We're going to talk about the starts that these guys have had and what this could mean for the 2024 Red Sox as well as the future. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one. Let's get into it. Okay, so the first prospect we need to talk about here is Roman Anthony. Anthony is just about 10 games into his AAA career, and for a little bit here, it looked like there was going to be an adjustment period. His first 5 games didn't go very well at the AAA level. He ended up with a 158 average, a 158 on base percentage, so no walks during his first 5 games, and a 211 slug. However, in the last 5 games Roman Anthony has played, he is hitting 500 with a 577 on base percentage and an 864 slug for a 1.441 OPS. In that time span, he also has 2 doubles, 11 hits, 2 mammoth home runs, and 4 RBIs. Over the past week-ish, he has also walked 4 times while only striking out 3. That all averages out to a 342 average, a 400 on base percentage, and a 561 slug, good for a 961 OPS in his first 10 games. And to be honest with you, those stats should be a little bit better. Roman Anthony wasn't struggling at the beginning because he was having a hard time making contact. He was struggling at the beginning because he was hitting absolute laser beams, and it was just ending up right in people's gloves. And on top of that, he's doing this all while getting it done defensively as well in his first 10 games. So far, he's played all 3 positions on the outfield, and he's made some really impressive catches out there as well. I don't know about you guys, but this is a pretty good first impression for Roman Anthony at the AAA level. And one thing that immediately came to mind when I was looking at Roman Anthony's progression and statistics up to this point in his career is that he's following an eerily similar path through the minor leagues that Rafael Devers did. Now, I'm not comparing the two players in terms of their talent. They are different in many ways, but the way that they have progressed through the Red Sox farm system is kind of similar. Rafael Devers did get a bit of a head start here, obviously signing out of the DR at 17 years old. But if you look at how Rafi progressed, it was demolishing the lower levels, quickly getting to AAA at 20 for really a cup of coffee, then on to Major League Baseball. Roman Anthony, on the other hand, started at 18, mashed in the lower levels, quickly made his way up to AAA at 20, and now it's how long until he's ready to burst onto the Major League scene. The difference here is that Rafael Devers really just had a straight shot to becoming the Red Sox third baseman, right? There wasn't a superstar level player at third base for the Boston Red Sox. It was basically whenever Rafi's ready to come up, he's probably going to take over that position. Now, we've talked about this a million times on this channel, but with Roman, it's a little bit of a different story, right? The Red Sox outfield at the big league level right now is already a bit crowded. You have 4 really great outfielders who can play each of their positions really well and make an impact at the plate. You've got Duran, Rafaela, who's currently tearing it up at shortstop. You've got Willie Abreu. You've got Tyler O'Neill. And honestly, you could add Rob Refsnyder into that mix as well, because he's probably been one of, if not your most productive outfielder over the last couple of days. With what Roman Anthony is doing at the AAA level, that's just getting even more crowded. Now, the question becomes, how much longer are you going to let him just absolutely beat down on AAA pitching before you decide he can't really stay there anymore and you got to get him up here at the Major League level? That's the big question. I think the Red Sox right now really have the luxury of time, right? It's only been 10 games. A lot can change in a week. We saw that with Roman himself. His first 5 games are drastically different than his last 5 games, so there could be some more adjusting that needs to be done. There could be some more things that the Red Sox want him to work on before he's ready to make his way up to Major League Baseball. And because of the fact that they do have this crowded outfield, they can allow him the time to do do that. They can say, hey, regardless of what you do in AAA this year, we're going to make sure you're hammering home everything we need you to get done before you get up here to MLB. Because for the most part, he's kind of proven that he can or is ready for Major League Baseball. I know that sounds crazy with just 10 games in AAA, but to be honest with you, AAA is a little bit of a unnecessary or necessary evil depending on the way you look at it, because we've talked about this before as well. The biggest jump a prospect makes outside of becoming a Major League Baseball player is that jump to AA. That's where you see the highest ranked talent in all of minor league baseball. And AAA, for the most part, when we're talking about the competitiveness of the pitching, it's a little bit less, mostly because a lot of the AAA rosters are filled up with guys who are maybe just slightly below what you need at the major league level or major league depth, or they're guys rehab. So if you're mashing there, it feels like you're ready to get to Major League Baseball, really kind of regardless of the sample size. I do think, though, if he continues to do this, there is a chance that we see him at some point this year, and it's mostly because at some point, right, you can't keep him down there. He's proving time and time again that he is a very legitimate impact bat at every level he's been at, and if he continues to match AAA pitching, at some point it becomes almost a hindrance to have him staying in AAA as opposed to trying to develop in Major League Baseball. I think for me, when we're talking about whether or not we see Roman Anthony at any point this season, it's going to have a lot to do with what the Red Sox end up doing over the next couple of weeks. If the Red Sox have a few more games like they had last night, they're going to be out of competition real quick for a playoff spot, and then there's not really any point in playing guys like Tyler O'Neill, who's going to be a free agent at the end of the year. That could give the Red Sox a lane here to get Roman Anthony up here. If they are competitive, obviously the hope is that Roman Anthony would help with that, but it gets a lot harder to get him into this Major League clubhouse without really having to take time away from guys who've been performing this season and guys you need for specific roles on this team. So I don't know if we see Roman Anthony this year. I think at some point here, he's going to play himself into a spot where they just simply can't ignore what he's doing in AAA. It all just kind of comes down to whether or not they're competitive. But overall, man, 10 games in, I know it's a small sample size. I know it kind of sounds like an overreaction here to be like, oh man, Roman Anthony might be Major League ready, but he is proving time and time again why he's considered one of the top talents in a farm system in all of Major League Baseball. And he continues to prove time and time again that he could very well be an extremely high impact player at the Major League level. But he's not the only one who is absolutely tearing it up in AAA right now. So before we get into the other top prospect having a ball here, do me a favor, make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton, and it's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying the content we are putting out. Thank you all very much for taking a second and doing so. Let's break down the other one. The second player we have to talk about is Kristian Campbell. Now, Kristian Campbell hasn't been in AAA very long. In fact, it's only been about half a series in AAA. Obviously, at the Major League level, this would be more like one full series. Despite that, Kristian Campbell's already making headlines, and the reason for that is because he continues to do what he's been doing all season long, and that is just absolutely beat the crap out of baseballs. His debut game was 2 for 5 with 3 RBIs. His second game was 2 for 6 with a double and 3 RBIs, and his third game is 3 for 5 with 2 home runs and 3 RBIs. He's 3 games into his AAA career, and he has 9 RBIs and is hitting .467 with a .500 on base percentage and a .933 slug. That is absolutely ridiculous. Now, normally, there's a bit of an adjustment period with every level you get to. Kristian Campbell hasn't had that adjustment period at any point this season. It does not matter if he's facing 18-year-olds in high A, 20-year-olds in double A, or 24-year-olds in triple A. He's going to hit the crap out of anything he sees. And it's not just the fact that in his first 3 games, he's making contact with baseballs. With the 12 balls he has put in play in triple A so far in his first 3 games, there have been some eye-popping exit velocities. From the right-hand side, we're talking about exit velocities like 111, 105 2 separate times, 104, and 102. It's not just just the fact that his contact ability is impressive. It's the fact that he is making contact and turning these baseballs into a pulp of what? Leather and string and cork. This dude is making these baseballs fear for their lives when they're getting tossed to the plate. That's how good Kristian Campbell has been at the AAA level this season. And again, we go back to this sample size of just a couple of games here, and a lot of people are going to say, Corbin, this is an unbelievable overreaction to a couple of games in AAA. And I agree. This is technically an overreaction to a very small sample size, but at the same time, too, I expect Kristian Campbell to continue to do this. And the reason I say that is because of the fact that he's simply done this at every single level this year. We just talked about it, right? It doesn't matter if it's 18, 20-year-olds or 24-year-olds who have major league experience. Kristian Campbell is up there for one purpose and one purpose only, and that is to punish any pitch that is put in the zone. And I have full faith he's going to be able to do that as he continues to develop here in AAA. It's to the point now with Kristian Campbell that there are scouts saying that they believe that Kristian Campbell is the highest talent in the Red Sox farm system right now. And that's really high praise. You take a look at some of the other top guys in this Red Sox farm system. People believe Kristian Campbell can be better than all of those guys. And to be honest with you, it's hard to argue with that right now with everything he's been doing at the plate this season. It's not just at the plate, it's on the field as well. He's doing all of this while playing two really premier positions on the diamond. Shortstop and center field is where they've stuck him in AAA so far. He's also played second base at the AA level. This is a guy who not only is an offensive weapon, he's defensively versatile as well. He's kind of what feels like the complete package right now, doesn't it? It feels like this is exactly what the Red Sox are looking for. And it's going to make things really interesting, in my opinion, down the stretch, because unlike Roman Anthony, Kristian Campbell does kind of have a bit of a clear path to Major League Baseball. I know Money Mike Madness isn't going to appreciate this, but with David Hamilton at second base, there's an opening here for Kristian Campbell to make an impact in MLB basically as soon as humanly possible, because even if the Red Sox stay competitive this season, there could be reason to bring him up. You could move, say, Don Rafaela back to center field. You could have, say, Don Rafaela stay at shortstop and have Kristian Campbell take over at second base. But more importantly here, he's a guy who's not going to strike out against left-handed pitching. And while he mashes both sides, he does seem to be a bit better against lefties. So far this season, he has a 359 average with a 463 on base percentage and a 577 slug against lefties at all levels this season. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities that we see Kristian Campbell in a Red Sox uniform at some point in September. Now, probably not when September call-ups hit. I would assume they want to give him more than about 10-ish games at the AAA level. But at some point here in September, if they're like, man, we really need a spark, we really need someone who's going to be able to hit some of these lefty pitching, Kristian Campbell could be knocking on that door, and that would be incredibly impressive, right? Essentially, a year and a half in minor league baseball before making your major league debut doesn't happen all that often, but I don't think it's out of the realm of possibilities with how good Kristian Campbell has been this season. Like I said in the intro, it's no longer the big three for the Boston Red Sox, it's the Fab Four, and Kristian Campbell may end up being the best out of all of those guys. So I am incredibly encouraged by what we've seen from Kristian Campbell at the AAA level so far. I understand it's only 3 games. I understand there are going to be a lot of people who say this is an overreaction, but again, AAA for high talent, high caliber prospects can sometimes just be a bit of a pit stop, a waiting area until their name is called. And I think that's what we're about to see for Campbell. But overall, taking a look at these two guys, it is absolutely fantastic to see. And honestly, it's a great thing to pay attention to when the Red Sox have games like they had last night. It's a reminder that, hey, things are about to get a whole lot better regardless of how this 2024 season ends up. And it's even more encouraging that they're right there. They are basically on the doorstep of Major League Baseball. In my opinion, these guys very well could be the 2 highest impact players the Red Sox have in this farm system. I think at this point, it's just a matter of when are the Red Sox comfortable in bringing them up, and I think that's going to be on a very individual basis. So we've got a little bit of time until that happens, but let me know in the comment section down below, what do you think? What do you think of what these guys have been able to do in their first taste of AAA baseball? Do you think it's any indication as to what they could be doing over the next couple of months? Do you think this is more so, we'll just let them play it out, we'll see what happens happens next year. What are your thoughts on what they've been doing so far? As always, if you made it to the end of this video, do me a favor. Make sure you guys have hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. If you're new here, we talk Red Sox content almost every single day. Also, make sure you guys have hit the like button on this video as well. Helps these videos out a ton. It's the best way you can let me know you're enjoying the content. Also, if you want to listen to these episodes and not watch them, you can always do that on the go by going to your favorite podcasting app and look up Red Seat Radio. Thank you all very much for clicking on this one, and I will see you in the Red Seats.